Hi all, in the digital video class today I'm going to talk a little bit about how to make a DVD. So in this case there's a variety of ways to get your video to your customer or your public, whatever you want to say. Of course we can post a video on our YouTube channel. We can send somebody the video or post it as a streaming file on the internet, or of course, okay, here's my YouTube example here. Of course, we can show it on YouTube, no problem. Of course, you have to have a YouTube account. But one of the best ways, and what we used to do with video, of course, was make a DVD out of it. DVD's been around for a long time. There's different types of DVDs. In this case, there is, and let's just look at a DVD and I'll talk a little bit about it. So, DVD, if you ever put one into your computer, has two files usually in the folder. Okay, and one of them is going to be called the video_ts file, and then usually it has an audio_ts file. Now, the audio folder that would be inside the DVD really doesn't have anything really in it. It's just a file. I don't know why it's even there. So most DVDs just have a video_ts file. And what's inside that folder is a variety of different files. You have your BUP files, your IFO files, and some menu files. These are just the way, and the reason why they're named this way on a DVD is so that the DVD player, the commercial DVD player that you would buy, would be able to read it. And so how you make a DVD is you want to be able to make the DVD so it plays within a DVD player. And so in order to make a DVD that plays within a DVD player, you have to use some kind of DVD software to make these files that you're looking at right now. Okay. Let's just look at the sample. So if you're using a Mac, one of the easiest ways to look at a DVD is just to use the DVD player. Now, one of the things about an Apple computer, of course, is the Apple computer doesn't play a Blu-ray. Apple decided not to instill Blu-ray into the Mac operating system, so I'm sure there's maybe some hacks to do it, but in this case there's no way really to play, and you can make a Blu-ray DVD on a Mac, but you really can't play a Blu-ray on a Mac, the way I understand it. If you're using a Mac like I am right now, I can open a DVD from the hard drive, so not even a DVD, there's no DVD in my drive, but there's a folder that is on my desktop of the DVD files. And so what I can do is I can go under File, Open, I can say Open DVD Media, and it'll go to the desktop, and I'll find my DVD example, and I can open up. This is one I made last year for the Branham High School band. So let's look at it, and we'll talk a little bit about what is a DVD and how it works. So if I play it full screen, you'll notice a couple things right away. The first thing you'll notice, of course, is that it's not high definition. The video of a DVD is in what's called DV video format, which would be, of course, 720 pixels across by 480 pixels high. With a non-square pixels. If it was going to be square pixels, it would be 854 across, or 56, something like that, and then 480 high. So you can see it's a little bit blurry, and it's made for a DVD player. And so I'm not talking Blu-ray. This is made for a normal old school DVD player. Now, if you have a Blu-ray, of course, you can make a high definition, and you can do that, and we'll talk about that as we go along building this DVD. I don't have a Blu-ray burner. I used to have a Blu-ray burner, but it broke. So I've made a Blu-ray disc before. I've made a couple, but my Blu-ray burner has broken, and I can't really show you it on a Mac anyway. So in this case, let's just talk about parts of a DVD. Of course, you have a menu, and as you can see here, as I roll my mouse over the area, and you'll see the little arrow points up, pointing to the video that you can play. So how you make a DVD is you have a variety of assets. In this case, I have several videos. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different videos. So I take all those videos, put them on my computer, hopefully in one folder so I know where they're at. Second thing you can do is you can make a menu. As you can see right now, we're looking at a menu, and that menu can have some kind of control. As you can see it, you can control, you know, what the person's using, and of course, if they're using the remote control on their DVD player, you can have it go up and down in this case. And if you make a more sophisticated DVD, you can have it go left and right and things like that. This menu that you're looking at right now that I'm showing you was made in Photoshop. It's very easy to make a menu in Photoshop and then just import it into a DVD program. In this case, I made this in Encore DVD, which is, of course, is an Adobe product. And that's pretty much it. So what I have right now is I have a menu that I made in Photoshop and 6 different videos, and then I bring them into the DVD software. In this case, I'm using Encore DVD, and I program it in, and I'm going to show you the Encore software and how to program the DVD. And then you export it out as burn it onto a DVD, and then you can duplicate that DVD and give it to people, or you can have it made, mass-produced by a company, and I'll show you some companies that you can mass-produce a DVD, or you can make your own DVDs if you want. Again, a menu is simple. You can just click on it, and it'll start the video.
Our band director, Miss Diane Wyatt. She's been with us.
So
and had started the
you can
Royal
see the
Alliance
video
program
plays.
4 years ago.
Down here you have some controllers that you can use, and you can
click.
click on menu and it takes you back. So this controller in the Mac DVD kind of playing software is kind of like your remote control on your DVD player. So again, you can play a different video, and then you hit the menu, go back. So it's simple as that. This one doesn't have a lot of sophistication. Some of the things that you could add to a DVD, of course, subtitles and audio tracks. You can have separate audio tracks, and you can program that through the software to either play a different audio track like you can with a commercial DVD, or you can actually have subtitles on there, and I'll show you briefly how those things can be done in the software. Again, this was made inside of Photoshop. It's, you know, DVDs, I've been making them for over 10 years easily, almost 20 years, and they're quite easy to make. Planning is the most important thing to making a DVD. Let's look at some of the files. So in this case, I had a folder open, I thought, already with all my files. I'm going to have to go and find them. Hold on one second. So I found my folder here with all my assets. Again, what I have is I have a folder, and let me open up the menu for you so you can see how I made it in Photoshop. So in this case, I have some Photoshop files. Oh, that's just a logo there. Let me see if I can find the menu here. So, here we go. So, in this case, you can make menus quite easily, and even inside the software program in Encore, they come with, most of the DVD software come with like these templates that you can use. Very nice, very easy to use. But if you want to make it a little bit more sophisticated, a little bit more advanced, you could use the Photoshop in this case. And so in Photoshop, I've made a menu. Some of the things you can look at here is how the menu is built. Of course, you have a background image that you can build. I have my little logo here in the corner here, logo here in the corner. I have a little title in the top, and then I have some shapes. I don't know what these shapes are. I don't know what those are. But in this case, I have some buttons. So these are called buttons. In this case, what a button is inside of Photoshop is, of course, Adobe makes Photoshop as well as Adobe makes Encore. So they make them work together. So if you want to make these things called buttons right here, this is a button to play a video. You need to name it a certain way inside of Photoshop. In this case, you need to name it with a plus. So you make a little folder over here. To make a folder, you go under New Group, okay, and you make a group so then you name it with a plus like this, plus, and then you call it whatever you want, button 1, whatever. And then inside that folder right here, that group there, then you would name certain files. In this case, in each one of my folders, I have some text, as well as I have an arrow. And inside that arrow, you'll notice there's also another name, and it's called equals 1. So you have a round bracket, equal 1 round bracket, and a name of the file. And the reason why you name it with the equals, and I'll put some tech. I'll give you the information of how to name the folders. I'll post it on the website. But again, you have equal 1, and then so by naming your files like that, Encore will automatically recognize this as something that's going to be clickable, and then the equal 1 then is something that will be turned on and off. If you looked at the DVD that we were looking at the beginning of this lesson here, you saw the arrow going up and down as I rolled my mouse over it, so it recognizes that you want this to be something that's going to be feedback to the user. Hey, it's on and off, on and off. The other thing to keep in mind is the size inside of Photoshop. You'll notice I have it in high definition size because this was meant to be a Blu-ray DVD, but again, my Blu-ray burner broke. So you can build your content. All my videos are in high definition. All my menu here is in high definition, which is the 1920 by 1080. It's just when I export it out, I downgrade it. I downgrade it for the DVD. And we'll talk about that as we go through. So again, there's ways to building a menu in Photoshop very easily. Again, just making little folders, naming them properly, and this is a very simple Photoshop file that you can build to make a menu. Again, make sure it's the right size, and you name the folders right. You can simply, easily build a menu. Okay, let's get, let me quit Photoshop. It's going to take too much RAM. So that's all I did in Photoshop for the DVD right now. I do have some sound in the background of the menu, so you can actually have a soundtrack play as the person's watching the menu. I didn't know if I heard that when we were doing the test. I did not hear that. Oh, I know it's on the original DVD that I provided to people. I don't know if we can play this and I don't know. I'd have to open that DVD menu up. Let me see. Was there sound playing there? I swear I put sound on there when the menu is there. I don't hear that sound. Okay. But I know there's sound on the final one that I made. And I can actually see the soundtrack here. So I put sound behind the menu, and it's just a WAV file that plays as the people are waiting for the menu to go. The next thing is, again, the videos themselves. You'll notice I have the videos, and they're going to be in the high definition quality. These are the raw files here, but you'll notice I have them in the, if I open them up in QuickTime, here's a video, one of the videos from the DVD. You'll notice it is in, I'm inside QuickTime right now. If I go to the movie inspector, you'll notice it's at the 1920 by 1080 high definition, 30 frames a second kind of quality. So all the assets, even though I'm making a DVD, are still in high definition. So let's go back to the Encore and let's look at it for a moment. Again, you can build a DVD very quickly in a program called Encore by Adobe. Now, Apple makes its own DVD program called DVD Studio. I used to use that one. That was the first DVD software I used to use back in 2000, I think is when I started. Yeah, right around 2000 I started making DVDs using the DVD software from Apple. And then probably around 2005, Adobe came out, maybe 2003, came out with Encore, and both of these are you know, they're both kind of similar the way you do things. In fact, you can make a menu inside of Photoshop, right, and bring it into to the Apple software and do the same thing like I did with the menu. Okay, let's look at how Encore works a little bit. How Encore works is basically it's a way of managing the assets. The first thing you do is you bring in a menu. So if I wanted to bring in that menu, I would import things. So in this case, in Encore DVD, I bring the pieces in by using import. So if I was going to bring that menu in, I would go under File, Import, Import Menu. and then I choose my Photoshop file if I can find it. Oh, I'm never gonna find these assets. Hold on. All I need to do is find my pieces, and so to bring a menu in, you just choose your Photoshop file and hit import. It'll bring the menu in. Hopefully, I no, this is the second one I brought in. Once it's in, you can double click on it. I don't know which one I'm using here. So now I have two of them in there, but here it is. So in this case, I have a menu, and once you bring it in, of course, the little arrows aren't showing up because it's seeing those as a button. But if you click on each one of them, you'll notice they highlight, and they become active pieces that you can program. And in this case, what you want to do is when you program it, you want it to go to a video. So that you can bring the videos in to Encore by going under File, Import As, and I bring the videos in as a timeline. What that does is allows you to, you'll notice there's a timeline down here. So if you go under Video Import and you import as a timeline, it'll bring each one of these in as something called a timeline. So each one of my videos that I have here is in a timeline. You can see a timeline down here. It's basically a way of seeing the video, and there is a little preview window right here, and it looks like a timeline in a video editing software, but you're not really editing video. You're basically looking at it. The reason why they have a timeline is so that you could have chapter markers. Think about it when you watching DVDs, right? You can have a scene selection, and in that scene selection you can jump to a specific chapter. Those chapters are programmed actually inside of Encore, like by adding what's called a chapter marker right here. Add a chapter marker, boom, and it adds right there. It adds a marker inside the video, and then you can make a menu. And as you program it, you can have it program or jump to the timeline. So when you're looking at a DVD and you see chapters or a scene selection, you're basically jumping to a moment in time in the video, and you can do that very easily in this program. So import your videos as a timeline. Once they're in the timeline, you can have separate chapters inside your timeline. Now, let me see if I can get rid of this now. Delete chapter point. Okay. So once you have that, you can have different moments in time. The other thing you'll notice is that, okay, we were talking about the audio here, and so if you have different, let's say, Spanish version, French version, whatever version, Chinese version you want, down here you can actually have different audio tracks for your video. So you import your video as a timeline. Once it's a timeline, you can add chapter markers to have people jump to different moments in time within the video, or you can actually have different audio. I think you can have up to 7 different soundtracks. That seems like a lot, but I believe 7 different soundtracks. In addition, you can also, in your timeline down here, in the timeline, and let me see if I can make this a little bigger so you can see it. When you import a video with a timeline, you can also add to your timeline a subtitle track, and that subtitle track then you can actually add text to the video. Now that's kind of hard to do, adding subtitles because inside of the program here. So the best way to make subtitles is to make them as a text document and then import it in. So I could show you how to do that real quick, and let me just do it. I wouldn't do it in Word. You need to do it in like some basic text editing program like WordPad or Notepad or something like that. I'm just going to show you in Word here just because I have Word very easily here. But what you want to do is, if you're going to make subtitles for a DVD, very easy to do. How you do it is you need to put the words in, I believe, first. Words for subtitle. Let me make this bigger. Jeez. I think so small today. And then you need to, or actually I think it's the time code first. I think you put the time code in, so you would put the time within the video that you want it in hours, minutes, seconds, and then frames, and then hit tab on the keyboard, and then do that again. Hours, hours, minutes, seconds, and then frames. So if you want between let's say 1 hour 20 second, 1 hour. Yeah, this is frames, seconds, minutes, hours. So 1 minute, 20 seconds, frame 04, you want the subtitle to start, and then you want 1 minute, 20, let's say 5 seconds, 00 frame, you want word for subtitle to pop up, and you hit tab between that. So basically it's where you want it to start, where you want it to end, and then the text you want. And then you do that, and you keep doing that for the whole video, and you save it as a TXT file. Okay, so a Word documents, a DOC, so you want to save it as a TXT file, and I'll post some information on how that is done. And then you can import it in, and it'll put it down here, and it'll match up with the video timeline. So because you can see right here inside of Encore that has an import, it has the time code right there, so you can have the text being shown up as you're watching the video, and then the person can turn it on and off with a remote control. So very easy to do in these programs. I recommend trying to make a DVD. It's not that hard. It's a lot of fun, and then you have something in your hand that you can then go and give to somebody. So instead of I've kind of talked a little bit about chapter markers and subtitles. Those are things that happen. Usually you would make a DVD with one movie, right? And then that movie then could have the different chapter markers, and then it could have subtitles and things like that. The DVD that I'm showing you right now is a little bit different because I have a DVD with a variety of separate videos, okay? And then each one of those videos is a separate video. So, it's a little bit different maybe than making a single movie DVD, but the concepts are the same in this case. So let's look at how to program the DVD. So the programming is very easy to do inside of Encore. Again, as long as you prepare it properly in Photoshop, you can then, it'll recognize that with the, if you remember, with the little plus sign in there. So if you make a DVD with a button, you can click on the button that you want, and then over in the properties window in the Encore DVD, you'll have something called link right there, and what you'll do is you'll link to the video, and in this case I'm linking to the HD video of Lee High School, and I'm going to chapter 1. What is chapter 1? Well, there's always one chapter in your DVD, or in your timeline, because that's the first starting point. So that's sort of how you link, is you can link to, again, you can actually link to separate chapters within a video. But I'm linking to the video. So click on the button, link to the video. So when the video is done playing, so the second thing you need to program is when the video is done playing. So if I go over to the Lee video timeline over here in the properties window, it's going to say in the properties window, end action. So what do you want it to do when the video is done playing? You can say go back to the default menu right here. So there's some options here. You can say, oh, go back to the default menu. And so that's how it'll go back to the menu when it's done playing. So after the video is done playing, it goes all the way through the timeline. When it gets to the end, boom, it goes back to the menu. You can also program the remote as the video is playing and the person doesn't want to watch the video anymore. If they hit the menu button on their DVD player, you can say right here where it says menu remote, you can say boom, go back to the DVD menu, back to the menu. So simple, very easy way of programming. Again, the menu has some buttons on it. You program those buttons to go to the videos or go to chapter markers within a video. When it's done playing, then you program the video itself. When the person's done watching the video, the end action, where do you want it to go? I want it to go back to the menu. So it's a very easy way of making a DVD, and that's all that there really is to making a DVD. The last thing you need to do, of course, is to actually program or build the disc itself and make those VOB files that you saw at the very beginning there. And to do that, again, there is an option inside of Encore to go and say build, and you say build disk. And once you build a disk, it takes you to this menu right here, the build menu, and this is where I could choose either DVD or Blu-ray. In this case, since I don't have a Blu-ray burner, I'm not making a Blu-ray, which I really wish I did. I'm making just a plain DVD. Now, there's two types of DVDs. You have the dual-layer DVD that holds 8.6, I believe, gigabytes of data, and then a single-layer DVD that holds 4.7 gigabytes of data. This project actually turned out just to be a little bit less than 4.7 gigabytes, so I was able to take these DVDs from this project that you're looking at here and put it onto a single layer DVD and not a dual layer DVD. So there's basically, you know, three things. You know, you got your single layer DVD, dual layer DVD, or a Blu-ray DVD. And a Blu-ray, depending upon if it's a dual-layer Blu-ray or a single-layer Blu-ray, a single-layer Blu-ray is a 25 gigabytes, and then a dual-layer DVD or Blu-ray would be 50 gigabytes, something like that. You can test your video also. You can make a test, so we can go underneath preview, and it'll preview your DVD, and it'll test it. Make sure it works. I don't know why my audio doesn't show up here. But I had audio playing in the background here of the menu. Maybe I
And I'll start by introducing our band director, Miss Diane Wyatt. She's been with us and had started the Royal Alliance program 4 years ago.
Yeah. So you can test it and then build your DVD, and it burns it onto it. And so, of course, you have to have a DVD player, a burner attached to your thing. Now, what is a burner? It's just one that you can record, and then you just build, and it'll burn it right onto the disc, right from the software, right onto the disc, and then you can duplicate the disc. And again, it's very easy to use. You might want to consider trying your own DVD yourself.